Eve, apart from being a good and important writer herself, is the key that unlocks the very good and very important Joan. We will therefore establish Eve first. Before we cue the once upon a time, though, a note. There are no sections in Didion and Babitz that are rewritten versions of sections in Hollywood's Eve, except for this one. I think that's because I can't start Eve's story any place but the beginning. Not the beginning, since I'm about as interested in where people were born and their lousy David Copperfield childhoods as Holden Caulfield was. The true beginning, which for me is the moment a person becomes aware, socially aware, sexually aware, self-aware. That moment happened for Eve, so I've always believed, in the bathroom at Hollywood High School. And now, cue the once upon a time. It's 1959. You're 16 in the 11th grade, and you're where you are anytime you're not in class, the girls' room on the second floor of the liberal arts building of Hollywood High. And you're doing what you're doing anytime you're in the girls' room on the second floor of the liberal arts building of Hollywood High, sharing a cigarette with Holly, though you'll call her Sally when you write about her years later in Rolling Stone. Holly, who blew her chance the moment she took it, signed to 20th Century Fox, then dropped the next day for bleaching her hair an atomic bombshell shade of blonde. Marilyn Monroe's exactly. The studio didn't want the new Marilyn Monroe, as it had the old under contract and shooting Let's Make Love right on the lot. It wanted the new Jean Seberg, the fresh-faced beauty plucked out of Iowa and obscurity to play Joan of Arc, and under contract at Columbia. Holly, who's taken up with a group of 20-somethings from her acting class. The Thunderbird Girls, knockouts all in blue eyeshadow and cinch-waisted cocktail dresses, cruising the Sunset Strip in, what else? Thunderbird convertibles, spending their weekends in Palm Springs making ring-a-ding-ding with Frank Sinatra. Holly, who chases 15 milligrams of Dexamyl with 4 cups of coffee just to drag herself to homeroom. Holly, who is your best friend. And then there's your family. Your father, Saul, from Brooklyn, New York, is a studio musician, 20th Century Fox, a former member of both a Philharmonic, the Los Angeles, and an orchestra, the Hollywood Bowl, and a one-time regular at Central Avenue jam sessions with Fats Waller, Jelly Roll Morton. Your mother, May, from Sour Lake, Texas, is an artist, her medium, quill and ink, also parties. She's known for her beauty and charm, her chignon with the rose in it, her chiles rellenos, the chiles just hot enough. Your godfather, Igor Stravinsky, from St. Petersburg, Russia, is a mercurial and massively influential composer. His most famous work, famous to you because it was featured in that Disney-perpetrated kitsch atrocity Fantasia. Every time you hear Le Sacre du Printemps, you picture those stupid cavorting cartoon dinosaurs. He gave you your name and a sense of life's supreme possibilities. You gave him an ant farm. Your house, on the corner of Cherimoya and Chula Vista at the foot of the Hollywood Hills, is packed so full of musicians that there's barely space for their instruments. Kid Ory and Joseph Szigeti, Marilyn Horne and Ingolf Dahl, Marnie Nixon, whose voice has already come out of the mouths of Sophia Loren, Boy on a Dolphin, and Deborah Kerr, The King and I, will soon come out of the mouths of Natalie Wood, West Side Story, and Audrey Hepburn, My Fair Lady, rehearses in your living room. In your front yard, mowed once a week by Mr. Sorensen, the hired man, no household chores for Saul, can't risk his violinist's hands, the two Kenneths, Rexroth and Patchen, deliver readings. Poetry, though, bores you blind, so you ask Lucy Herman to tell you stories inside. Lucy's husband, Bernard, Uncle Benny to you, is putting the finishing touches on the score for Hitchcock's latest thriller chiller, Psycho. When in a year's time you go to the theater to see the movie, you mostly don't because you're covering your eyes with your palms. You do, however, hear Saul's bow and strings shrieking along with Janet Leigh in that shower in cabin 1 of the Bates Motel.